has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
And we're back, Ferrall, coast to coast here, hour number 3, with Scotty out in Vegas, taking pictures with TD here at the end of the hour. He was just talking to Thomas Dimitrov. He has to take a picture with him before he goes, and now Scotty's coming back, and he's rejoining us now here on the set. There you go. You're back. Hour 3, Scotty.
Was Mafia cussing when I wasn't on the headset there for a minute?
He was just telling you a couple times, that you were ready to go. But you couldn't. I don't know how loud that was there. You probably couldn't hear.
He blames me. He's like, how many times have I told him, gee, damn it. Starts cussing, taking the Lord's name in vain, blaming me, things like this. And I'm, as you know, I'm erratic. I'm not generally a focused individual, Carver High. I sometimes stray from or cross over the center line. Or I text while I'm driving. I drink while I'm, I got drinks and I got the.
You can't leave without taking a pic with TD. I mean, you weren't going to leave without saying goodbye to him. I mean, he was wearing that sharp red jacket too. I mean, you weren't going to leave without
I was just going to say that. I swear to God, I was just going to say, did he not look like? What was the guy's name? We talked about it the other day that he died from Starsky and Hutch. Was it David? What was his name? God, I'll never remember his name.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
But that jacket, that red jacket was so Gucci. What he was wearing, like, who wears a suede red, like Fonzie? David Soul was his name. Where is Dimitrov when I need him now? David Soul. I said his name was David. Didn't I say it to him? I go, his name's David something. And I was going to say David Spade. Wasn't that another guy on Saturday Night Live? I'm horrible, as Mafia knows, and Carver High know. I butcher names all the time, constantly. I'm a horrible name rememberer. Is that a word?
Yes, it is. There you go. Radio affiliates now. So you're there. You're on the Sirius set. Give the radio affiliates before we move on.
Oh, Sirius XM channel 159. Hey, Steve Torrey, thank you for having us here again. I want to thank you before Spitz shows up because I have to thank him like 40 times. I only have to thank you publicly once today. God bless Sirius XM. My favorite. And I'm not lying. I listen to more Sirius XM than anyone, and the music, and my friends that do shows there. You name it, I follow it, every channel. And I'm, again, grateful to be on the Sirius XM stage at the compound for Sirius here at the Super Bowl. And also Sports Byline and their great radio affiliates out of San Francisco.
Yes, say hi to Spitz when you see him for me. Tell Spitz I said hi.
I will. He's not here yet. I want to say it before he gets here because.
Yes, he does. Yes. Looks like a large guy. All right, we'll get Scotty back in a moment. Here out in Vegas, they're having some troubles. We'll get him squared away, and we will get things moving there for him. Everything is flying out in Las Vegas, coast to coast. All right, we do have some other games tonight. We have lots of college football that Scotty's going to get to. We have 2 games that are going to come up tonight with Miami, Virginia, Kansas, and Kansas State are at the table tonight as well. Virginia -1.5, -4.5 for this total 132 in the Miami game. And Scotty also is going to have several of these mid-major games tonight because I see plenty of MEAC games for him. Got some Summit games as well in Sacramento State. So lots of mid-major games that we will go through tonight. I do like Miami to the game at Virginia, getting the 5.5 for the Hurricanes, and Larinaga can get us cooking. And at the Little Apple, we're going to lay it with Kansas as well. So Scott's got other stuff lined up for us here. Also have hockey tonight, and believe me, when we get back, we'll get all of his plays for the hockey as well. He's back off of the weekend. All-Star Matthews ended up winning the All-Star Challenge, the 3-on-3 tournament that they had. His wins, of course, they gave him the MVP. It was rigged. Plenty of other guys had better numbers than Matthews, but it's also Toronto, so we're going to give the MVP to him. The Maple Leafs, I was kind of surprised to get right back at it after hosting the game on. They have the Islanders in town tonight to kick back off the second half of the Leafs minus 165. Islanders plus $1.40. 6.5 is the total here for this one. Islanders, Barzell stayed up there. They flew up last night after practice. Basically the worked on a lot of things over the past couple of days. I like the Islanders tonight, believe it or not, and I never had them this year, especially on the road. An awful job. But in Toronto tonight, 1.5 and plus the 125. We're going with the Islanders. And the other game is at the Avalanche in to play the Rangers. Pick'em game right now, minus 110 ways for the Avalanche and the Rangers. 6.5 is the total. Both of these teams coming fresh off. Sturgeon all played, of course, in the All-Star game on Saturday. Like the over, 6.5 with Colorado and the Rangers. So you have that one as well. Rangers minus the puck at plus 200. And like we said, minus 10, the money line both ways. We'll get picks on all the hockey and the college basketball coming up later. We'll go through some of the stuff from the weekend. We had those 3 top 10 games in college on Saturday. Houston losing at Kansas. Kansas blitzed them from the start. Recover from it. So great win for Kansas. They moved back up in the 25 today. North Carolina took care of business at home against Duke. Another game pace blew way over that total, scoring tons of points and the cover for North Carolina there. And Tennessee, shocking to me, ends up beating. But DeCourcy was telling Scotty earlier, the reason behind Kentucky's defense is pathetic. Let Tennessee run all of them on Saturday night, giving up that. It's just a pathetic job by Cal. You got to work because there's no chance some big kind of run in March when they have that kind of defense. The 102nd ranked defense in basketball so far this year. Awful job by them. All right, Ferrall Coast to Coast here on a Monday. Scotty is out in Vegas. We're going to get back to him a bit. Carver High here in New York. We've got our guests to do. We have all the games we're going to get back to and a lot more. Hi, Scotty out there. We will come back for Coast to Coast. And we got a little Travis Kelce, and we have some Brock Purdy, as there is a game this week. Everybody is now in town. Everybody's ready to go. Niners and the Chiefs ready to roll. On a Monday, we'll come back. We got a lot more to do on the grid right after this.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. Rematch from just a few years ago.
The consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Back-to-back weeks throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? Win MVP with 1 touchdown pass.
The Chiefs. But I bet on him.
This is going to be played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on grid.
And let me tell you something. Steve Spagnuolo's defense is going to be ready to play. You make turnovers in this or make stupid decisions as a head coach, you're going to pay. Kansas City isn't going to give it back.
Do you really think that you and Debo both are going to be no-show in this ballgame? And oh, by the way, they have George Kittle. Above average, one of the best tight ends in all of the NFL.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should. Your gut also said your NFT sell would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows is in concussion protocol. The backup has a QBR against the zone coverage. The New York has the most sacks in the league. So trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I think Mahomes will go over that easy. I think McCaffrey will have 20 or more attempts because they know they can't throw all day against that Kansas City defense. They got
teams that win have been healthier for the most part. Two relatively healthy teams, but the Niners have the advantage.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
That's been to a sporting event. The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There's going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions field night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do. We zone in on the biggest games tonight. I want this to be the that people come to before the game starts. They feel as ready as possible. Lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right. Thank God Carver High saved the day and got me back on the air. And Carl Cutforth, thank you. Greg Sussman, thank you. We're back on the air. Someone tried to steal my KD shoes. That's what happened. There was a person here that went under the table, tried to steal my shoes. And I after I said they cut my toes up and they're $220, someone still tried to steal them. And then I kicked their face in. And I was kicking them so many times in the face that management thought it was a bad idea to have that on film. They wanted to eradicate Carver High, the evidence, so they took me off the air.
It's all right. You got to destroy the evidence. That's another thing about out there. Not only are people looking for gold and looking for diamonds and looking for jewels, everybody's trying to destroy evidence while they're out there as well. Nobody wants to come home with anything that they found while they were there. Destroy the evidence, end of the day. All right, when I lost you, I was about to talk about these college basketball games for tonight. We have hockey games, too. We'll get to those eventually. Let's do this fast before Merriman gets over to you. Only two games that matter tonight in College Rack. I'm sure you got something going on with the MEAC or the Summit afterwards. But Miami and Virginia down in Charlottesville. And at the Little Apple, you have Kansas and Kansas State tonight.
Yeah, I bet on the Miami, Virginia under 132.5 based on, Virginia's half-court game and defense and that they're playing in Charlottesville. I bet on the under that they're going to give Miami problems scoring. So I'm going to keep it under 132.5. I got it at minus 110. Kansas at Little Manhattan. As you know, I got crabs there once. Kansas State, I bet the under 145 at minus 110 this morning. Same thing there. Kansas coming off the win over Houston, going to play their arch rival on the road in a hostile environment. I think it's going to be a war, a physical war. Buckets are going to be hard to come by. I took the under there. And I also bet one other one. I'll throw this out there. No one would bet this game. I bet, but I did. I bet that Delaware State game against Howard, and I got, believe it or not, when I bet Delaware State, I was getting 1.5. It's now flipped to them laying 1, but I got them at plus 1.5 at minus 110 this morning, and that was West Coast time. And as you know, I have a massive gambling problem.
You do. Absolute massive gambling problem, as we know. From over the weekend, we'll do this now also while we're waiting out because I want to save the hockey so that we'll get it in later on. You had those 3 top 10 games on Saturday. Houston got their ass beat in Kansas. Duke got their ass beat at North Carolina. And Kentucky got their ass beat by Tennessee. None of the games were any good. All the games sucked, and they were all ass beatings.
Yeah, and listen, two things. One, I bet on these teams at home. As you know, Mike, you're great at it. It is so hard to win on the road in heavy conference action games. Houston going to Kansas. Houston, Ranieri always bets them first half, and they have the best defense in the country. They had nothing going in Fog Allen. I bet North Carolina at home. I laid 4, and they handled Duke. You go on the road in the Big Ten, you go on the road in the ACC, in the Big East, in the Big 12. What you do is you lose. Secondly, there is no greater fan than Carver High's mother. We need your mother to be our official marketing, promoting wing of the show. Your mother promotes us and loves us more than anyone on earth, more than all fans, all viewers, all detractors and haters. Your mother, Liz, is the king, the queen, and the entire royal family of Ferrall Coast to Coast, with young Mike and old Ferrall working together now for decades.
She is. She always tries to flip the show on during the day while she's at home and make sure to tune in.
Her.
Always loves seeing everything that's going on.
My mother-in-law has a gambling problem, plays high-end slots, and has no time to promote us. She does watch us, but she has no time to promote us because she pulls 20 a hand. Every single pull is $20.
Every pull, you gotta go over to those handles. That's the way to get it done out there. Something else nobody wants to hear when they're going home from that place. How many handles did they pull while they were in town? Nobody ever wants to talk about that either. All right, yes.
What about the hockey? Because I heard you doing the hockey while I was kicking the guy in the face.
Because no lights out yet, so we'll do the hockey now. Only 2 games tonight after the All-Star weekend. Islanders and the Leafs are in Toronto tonight. Minus 165 for Toronto, plus $1.40 for the Islanders. 6.5 is the total. Waugh was giving them the business at practice yesterday, Scotty. Wants the Islanders playing better.
Yeah, I'm not sure the rah-rah yelling and screaming at players works, but I know that, I like the under in this game. I think the Leafs are better than the Islanders, flat out, but I think the Islanders have to play tougher, have to play better, have to stop Toronto from scoring. So I did bet the under this morning in that game, and I got it at minus 110. So I got it at normal price to bet the under. Not going to be easy. I think Toronto and the Islanders are capable of going over this number, but I bet it under today because the Islanders need to clamp down. And the other game is that Rado game, and I think that's a dangerous bet as well. But I did make it, and I bet the Rangers. I got them. It was a pick 'em this morning at minus 110. I see it now at 115, 105. Rangers favorite. I got them at a pick 'em. So I took the Rangers at the Garden.
Yeah, it's back to a pick-em now as of this very second. Back to minus 110 both ways after going that way earlier. I think there could be something to overs here. I was saying one game I liked the over before, but, kind of like maybe a little sleepy coming back from the break. Like these guys got to spend a couple of days off. They really want to get back at this thing that quick, and you've got to go. Like half the Toronto team was in that nonsense game that they played on Saturday. So I'm sure that those guys probably want nothing to do. They didn't get a full week off like everybody else. I could see it being a little slow tonight in both of these games to kick things back off.
You know what I mean? Like I thought, and I did catch myself for 10 minutes or so watching the game. I watched those semifinal games. I did not watch the final. I caught the semifinals for like 10 minutes each game. I also saw I'd say 20 minutes of the skills where I saw your boy McDavid beat Barzal in that speed skating thing. And I also saw Pasta with the snapshots on the doorstep where he was, the one-timers in front of the net, whatever they call that, the snapshot segment of it. I did catch a little of the event in Toronto, but usually when they come off of those All-Star games, they are a little strung out and hung over.
Yeah, strung out, hungover, and they don't want anything to do with going back to playing, that's for sure. I caught a little bit also. The skills was weird this year. It was like a different format. They did like all the same 6 guys did every single event, and the other 30 guys just sat there and watched. It was very bizarre. Kucherov acted like he didn't want to be there. Just a very strange event. They don't like him at all.
They hated him.
What Kucherov had going on there, that's for sure. All right, so there you go. Hockey had 2 games.
I'm excited. I'm excited that they're going back to the Olympics, Mike.
Yes, that's great. In 26, they'll be in Northern Italy, and then 30, they'll go after that. I think it's better for the game. I wasn't as interested the last 2 times. Not having the professional players there, it just doesn't have the same zip to it. I think now, especially since it's been some time, we haven't had the McDavids and had the Matthews and had all these big heavies play in a tournament like this before.
Right.
I think that's going to add a lot to it as well.
I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to be honest. I like the World Cup, and I think the Olympics have kind of certainly taken a back seat to that. And I think the Olympics, frankly, have kind of sucked.
They've sucked, and now they'll be good again now that everyone's going to be back there. I don't know why they kept this other thing to just 4 nations. I don't know why they just didn't do the full World Cup next year in 15. I would have had everybody involved like they did for the other World Cups. All right, there you go. We'll come back coast to coast right after this.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with 1 touchdown pass.
I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's 1 game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And let me tell you something. Steve Spagnuolo's defense going to be ready to play. You make turnovers in this game or make stupid decisions as a head coach, you're going to pay for it because Kansas City isn't going to give it back.
Do you really think that Ayuk and Debo both are going to be no-shows in this ball game? And oh, by the way, they have George Kittle, one of the above average, one of the best tight ends in all of the NFL.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the average. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I think Mahomes will go over that 12.5 easy. I think McCaffrey will have 20 attempts because they know they can't throw all day against that Kansas City defense. They got to run.
Teams that win have been healthier for the most part. So you have 2 relatively healthy, but the 49ers have the advantage.
Ferrall Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event. The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
One of my favorite things is when we have technical difficulties is when Mafia tells me to shut the Ferrall up. He's like, I'm like, maybe there's a problem over at the other location. He's like, shut the Ferrall up and just stay out of it. And I'm like, and he's like, ah. And I'm like, well, nah. And he goes, nah. And then I go, ah. And he goes, ah. He won't tell him Carver High gives me the business, this guy.
Yeah, a little bit. He was doing that. But look, everybody's trying to get everything back on board. And now you're back. That's all that matters. You're here now, so let's just make the best of it while we can.
Right.
We might as well just go ahead and do that.
Right.
So the teams are in
but we
town.
Have later. We have later together. We're on later together on the radio.
We are.
I predict that when we do the show from 8 to 10 on Carver and Ferrelli, as opposed to Carver and Lisi, we keep it Italian. Carver and Ferrelli with bow tie pasta. That's what we're having. I believe that we will do the show without fail this evening from 8 to 10 East. And then today on this, we've had fail. Although, one of the things we do have going for us is that BetMGM is handing out $158 to people if they just bet $5 on the app. You got to get the app, download the app, sign up on iOS or Play Store, get the app, put in $5, start your account, boom. And then when you have an account, go make a bet for $5, standard odds price, and boom, they're going to give you $158 in bonus bets instantaneously. Also, there it is. Look, bet 5, get $158. I wasn't lying. Use the bonus code SG158, SG, SportsGrid 158, and get $158 in bonus bets. Also, get the SportsGrid app. It's phenomenal. I told you the story, right, Carver High, of I was walking with the guy. Did I tell the story on the air yet? I was walking with this guy.
Oh,
he was
you
clearly
might have told this one. Yeah.
On the air, I did tell it. Coffee, did I tell it on air? I did not.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I don't know if Coffee he wasn't behind me.
Not on air.
But Coffee, I was walking yesterday with this dude from I think he worked at NFL at the Allegiant. He was in security. And he's like, listen, Holmes, I got to go back to the MGM and get my credentials, man. He goes, they wouldn't let me in, and I'm security. And they wouldn't let me in. I got to walk all the way over here. So I'm walking with the guy, and he goes, what do you do? I said, I do SportsGrid TV. He goes, what's that? And I go, it's sports gambling, streaming television and radio on Sirius XM. He goes, he goes, I love to gamble. And so I showed him, and he downloaded the app. As we're walking over the strip, my guy's downloading the app. And the entire time I was walking with him over the strip, your boy Lisi and Blue were creeping on me from behind. They were literally standing 1 foot behind me over my shoulder, watching me downloading apps for my guy from NFL Security, who was now a fan of the show. He's watching right now. He said, I'm going to be a fan of SportsGrid TV. And then your boy Lisi says to me, he goes, Ferrall, you're selling it everywhere you go. I go, I'm selling it over the strip.
Nice job. Well, listen, that's what it's all about. Put the app in as many people's hands as you possibly can while you're out there. That's all that really matters.
Mafia just told me that... Yeah. And Mafia just told me I can't do it in Spanish. Do you hear him yelling at me there? Don't do the accent. Don't do it in Spanish. Yeah. I mean, the rules at this place now, honestly. You remember when there were no
that's
rules
something else
and
that's
such?
Changed
we
out
lived
there.
like beatniks?
Used to be a no-rules city that you're in. So just like how everybody's looking for the diamonds, they're looking for money, they don't want to tell anybody their stories when they leave, you also have a lot more rules in that town now over the past couple of years, which nobody really likes to begin with. There is a game there this week. If anybody didn't know, there is a game that's going to happen. Both the teams are in town, Scotty. I'm sure you saw all of that great footage of their planes landing and them loading up in the buses to go to those posh resorts out in Lake Las Vegas where they all get to stay for the next week. I mean, honestly, what is that about? I mean, stick them right there on the strip with everybody else. Let's get somebody in trouble this week. Come on now. That's what we really need.
Right.
But no, out in Lake Las Vegas, is where they're going to be. The Chiefs and the 49ers. Game week is finally here. Why don't we give you a little, how about a little Brock Montana here for us today, Sky? A little Brock Montana saying he's got no Super Bowl experience, but at least some of his teammates have it. He's happy about that. Here he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome because you get to talk to guys all the time about their experiences throughout their years and their career. Obviously, their experiences here. I'm talking to Eric Armstead and what it was like in 2019 for him, and obviously even when he first got here and what it was like till now. And same with George and Fred, Dre Greenlaw, his rookie year playing the Super Bowl. Same with Debo. Like, you got all these guys that have played in big moments and big games, and all those things have added up to their experiences, and you get to ask about them, to them. And so that everyone's got a little different perspective and maturity to them. So for me as a young guy in the league, like it's pretty fun, and I'm very blessed to have those kind of guys because I get to ask them, and everyone's got a new perspective on it. Everyone's mature, and everyone understands what it takes. So for all of us young guys on this team, man, we're very lucky to have those older guys to sort of put their arms around us and sort of teach us the way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's like listening to my priest. It was just so boring. What he just said.
That's Brock.
34. So I talked to 34C on the phone. I got a way better interview than Brock Montana. 34C says to me on the phone, she goes, yo, what's with the quarterback's dad getting a DUI? That's what she said to me.
That's spicy. Yeah. Well, that's not even his first or second. I believe they said, what is that, the hat trick? For him, unfortunately.
The hat trick.
Hat trick. That's awful. That's just awful. But like, yeah.
She doesn't even care about the game.
$50 billion. Can we get him a car? His son's got millions.
Can we get him an Uber?
Car.
My guy Raymond at Uber. Can I give him a shout out? Raymond driving me last night downtown, and I had a lot of bad things happening in my system in terms of alcohol and other proprietary items. Anyway, all I know is Raymond's a fan as well of SportsGrid now and Sirius 159. He was telling me, driving me, and he used to listen to me back in the day in Vegas on KVG and Sports Entertainment Network, and when I lived in Vegas, he knew me. The minute I got in the van, the guy's like, I know that voice. He goes, you're Ferrall, and then we talked, and he's like, I heard you died. Anyway, it was cool, but 34C could care less about football or the Super Bowl or the teams or the quarterbacks, but she did call me and tell me, what's with the guy's dad who got a Dewey? Now, I think that's spice. Now, you talk about staying in Lake Las Vegas, there's no trouble. I agree with Carver High 100%. They should have put the players, I believe, in the most expensive place on the Strip, the Aria. They should have put them all there in the fancy Aria, because I have stayed at the Aria, and they are so snobby out at the pool there. You couldn't get lucky on your birthday. I mean, there are rich chicks with diamonds and suntan oil, and the whole deal. And then the teams there, then we could have gotten someone in trouble. I mean, the show is so much better when people are in felony situations or misdemeanors, missies. If you get a little missy action, no one cares, frankly, about Patrick's father getting his Hattie DUI. I mean, how about they just keep letting him drive? I love the states where they live, where they just 3, 5, 6, 8 Deweys and you still got a license. Somehow.
It's amazing that they continue to allow it. Amazing they still allow it. The other, of course, big off-the-field story this week is we have a Kelsey brother, which means everybody's out, up in arms because he's got Taylor Swift coming to the game. She won some Grammys last night, but that's not what he's talking about here, Scotty. We keep it simple with Travis. It's about football and facing a very tough 49er defense.
Knowing that it's on film and that the team that we're going to play has seen that we can bring that mentality. So the challenge is there. This is a group. It's going to be the best defense we play up to this year, and I'm excited about that challenge, man.
Listen, I've said this, and I don't think it's you need to be a genius to figure it out. If the 49ers take him out of the game, the Chiefs will lose. Take him out of the game. I frankly believe that should be their sole focus in the football game. They can't get to Mahomes. He rarely gets touched unless it's someone punching him in the face in Baltimore or someone trying to turn him into a pretzel, trying to hurt him. I've always told you that these guys try to maul the quarterback and kill him, knock him out of the game, and that'll be the end of it. But the reality to me is, Mike, is stop Kelsey and you beat him. It's simple. That guy, what he did to Baltimore, he beat him by himself.
I agree. What's he got? I think he's at 12 or 13 playoff games in a row with more than 70 yards receiving. Slow him down, and you'll be okay. I did he's that's the best defense we're going to play this year. They haven't looked like it the last few weeks. I mean, you move the football on the Niner defense, so they're going to need to figure some things out before this week because they haven't been the best
Explain to me one thing. I believe fully that Warner or Greenlaw have the speed to stick with him, this white boy, to stick with him. Why is that so hard? And I got to be honest, why is that so hard with guys that fast? And why is there... Frankly, I think the Niners secondary is maybe one of the worst in the league. And you can quote me on that. I am not buying. Did you see what Goff did to them in the first half, 300 yards? Did you see what the Packers did to them in that game in Santa Clara? Everyone moves the ball on them. Everyone. Arizona moves the ball on them. The Rams, everyone moves the ball on the Niners.
Everyone does. I agree. We'll come back. I will give you where the number's at here on a Monday. I've got some other things for you as well before we get out of here. Lots of stories, Scotty, on a Monday, getting ready for Super Bowl week out there in Vegas.
It's very exciting here. I will say that it's Monday at Radio Row, and there's literally, it's like 10% of what it's going to be the rest of the week.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing one touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with one touchdown pass.
I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And let me tell you something. Steve Spagnuolo's defense going to be ready to play. You make turnovers in this game or make stupid decisions as a head coach, you're going to pay for it because Kansas City isn't going to give it back.
Do you really think that Ayuk and Debo both are going to be no-shows in this ball game? And oh, by the way, they have George Kittle, one of the above average, one of the best tight ends in all of the NFL.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I think Mahomes will go over that 12.5 easy. I think McCaffrey will have 20 or more attempts because they know they can't throw all day against that Kansas City defense. They got to run.
Teams that win have been healthier for the most part. So you have two relatively healthy teams, but the 49ers have the advantage.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event. The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
So, you got a controversy already, Carver High? I mean, what is happening here?
We do have our first Super Bowl week controversy / problem / complaint drama, and that has come from the 49ers side of the field, Scotty. They are displeased with their practice field. They were assigned UNLV, so they have the facilities over with the Rebs, and they have been met with widespread disapproval from various members of their organization. The NFL put in a sod field on top of the turf field, and it started laying it down last week, and it is not up to snuff, Scotty. Now we have the first excuse. When the Niners lose on Sunday night, they practiced on a bad field at UNLV. They didn't get the proper conditions. The Chiefs are over at the Raiders' place out there at Shangri-La, and the Niners had to practice at UNLV, and now it's no good. No good at all.
So sloppy, muddy, like thick-ass, new planted grass sod, and they're complaining about slipping and no traction and having to use the 7-inch cleats, and that they are literally, they're saying that the Chiefs, who the NFL can't have enough of, they can't get enough of the Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl every year for the last 5 years. So what they've done is they put down muddy sod for the Niners to sink their teeth and feet into and be at a disadvantage. And now they're complaining to the gods. They are complaining, and they want everyone to hear them that they are being cheated before the Super Bowl. Is that what you're suggesting?
That is correct. That is precisely what is happening now. Bad scene all around. Our first complaint of the week. I'm sure they'll be talking about it. What, they got media night tonight, Scotty? Are they all the players going to go over to media night and all the crazy interviews that they do over there with all the players? So we'll have that coming up for you later as well. Here's where we're at on a Monday. We're still at a flat 2. Niners -2, 47.5. It's been the same for a few days now. I don't think it's going to change until the end of the week.
I just have this, you've heard me before. I just have this horrible feeling that the casinos and sports books and sports betting apps are going to get their way, and they're going to rake billions off of the Niners winning and the Chiefs not covering as a dog. People are on the, Mahomes never loses, 10-1-1. Never, you can't beat him. He's the devil. He's unbeatable. They're just the most amazing thing in the world. If the Niners win, am I wrong? Am I wrong here, Carver? If the Niners win, the house rakes like never before because so much money is being bet on literally all the sharps, all the money since last week for an entire 8 days now has been just literally pouring in on the Chiefs.
Yeah, everybody likes the Chiefs so far. That seems to be the thought. And it got down to 1.5. And even with everyone liking the Chiefs, it has pushed back to 2, whatever that was, Thursday or Friday, and has held there since. So
I cannot bet on. I cannot do it. I cannot watch them win a 6th Super Bowl. But I think it's going to happen because I think that I've always said to you that the days after, and we've had them on, we've had the traders on my show live for years say, "Oh, we had a great day." It ended up being a great day for us. We had a great day. The props, we made a fortune. The spread, we made a fortune. The total, we made a fortune. They always end up making all the money.
Always.
That's why we're here. That's why this town jumps. That's why this town is where it is. That's why they're putting up Fountain Blues and big brand new fancy Shangri-La casinos, because they're drowning in money when they rake. And they're going to rake. If everyone bets on Kansas City and loses, then they're just going to rake. And all I know is they got the rakes out. I have a feeling, I'm with you. Right now, I'm still that's what's going to happen. I think Mahomes is flat out better than Purdy. I think the Chiefs are capable. I think that's why everybody's betting on him, because of Patrick Mahomes. But I'm telling you, if the Niners and they take away Kelsey, I don't think they can. If they take him away, I don't think Kansas City can beat him. And listen, they have played terribly. They have played terrible football, and yet they always win. Have you noticed? Everyone keeps talking about how bad the Niners suck as they win every week. They win every game, even games they should have. They're down 24-7, and they still won. They are winning no matter what every week. Come hell or high water, they win, and they just keep winning. And to me, if it's 1.5, that's, easy peasy. If they win the game, I think they win, but frankly, by more than a field goal. I think they'll cover 1.5. I think they'll cover 2. I think if they win, they'll win by somewhere in the neighborhood of, frankly, 4 to 7 points. But I don't think they've been playing good football either. But I think they always win. They always win.
They always win. And I might go on the other side of this. All of this groundswell of, I'm not betting against Mahomes. I'm not betting against Mahomes. All right, you know what? I'll take a chance. I'll bet against Mahomes again.
Why not?
I don't mind.
Why not?
I get my head beat in by that guy all the time. What's one more time? I might as well give it a shot. I'll go after him. One more time. I know one thing. He didn't beat Brady a couple years ago. He didn't beat him.
They didn't beat
Super Bowl.
They got slaughtered. And let me ask you this question. Who cares if you lose, frankly, the Super Bowl spread or the money line or whatever, with the money you make on golf betting? Honestly, let's get down to the business here. So you're telling me Wyndham Hotels Clark gets the win after 54 holes because they candied out in Northern California and the rain got them, so they all candied out?
That's correct. So because of the storms over there in Monterey, over at Pebble Beach, they didn't play yesterday, obviously. They were going to try and play today, and even that was no good. I mean, trees were getting ripped out. Nobody had power. It was a real bad situation out at Pebble Beach. So they shut it down after Saturday. Your man shot a 60 on Saturday. So he was like nowhere near the top of the leaderboard when he woke up Saturday morning. Shot a 60, 12 under 60, flies to the top of the board, and then doesn't have to pick up a club again. He wins. Elevated event, $3.3 million. Pebble Beach, big win for Wyndham, the Butler Clark. Wyndham Hotels as he gets it done. And there was a lot of controversy too, Scotty, in the betting world because a lot of people, as they were ending the third round on Saturday, a lot of people were starting to think they might not play again. So people started to load up on Clark because he was in the lead. He was like plus 200, plus 250, plus 225. So people started hammering him. Some books paid, some books voided, depending on when you got the ticket. So if you bought the ticket like after he was done, they voided the bets. And so there's been a lot of chatter about that, about how the sports books handled everybody running to the window and betting on Clark after
Did you bet on him?
Play again. I did, actually. I actually I did the same thing. I went as kind of the last group was coming in. I said, man, this looks real bad. And I went and got him at the plus 200, and they voided me. They did not pay me out. I got voided. So I didn't. I ended up like. But I figured there was a chance of it. So I mean, I just, as I started looking in and you read the fine print and you do all those things, you kind of had a feeling that was something that might happen. And Liv yesterday, they had a tremendous event in Mayakoba, Rahm's first event. And Sergio, your boy Sergio Garcia and Joaquin Neiman played a 4-hole playoff, and it was getting dark. They basically were like, it was like the Legend of Vagger Bance. They were pulling up the cars with the headlights for them to putt on the fourth playoff hole, and Neiman ended up beating him. There down in Liv. So nice job by him.
Did you know they're here this week in Vegas?
I know. They're there. They're playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 3 rounds, shotgun.
So how about
Ready to
this?
roll.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So tomorrow night, Connor McDavid's here against the Vegas Golden Knights. That's going to be a hot ticket. And then the Live Golf on the 8th through the 10th. Don't they just do 3 days? They do 3 days in Live, don't they?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday they're going to do this week. They're going to start Thursday, and they'll be done on Saturday to get out of the way for the Super Bowl. And how about McDavid in town with a 16-game winning streak tomorrow night? Over at the T-Mobile. That is a good week for them to have them in the building, that's for sure. When we left on Friday, the Raiders were hiring Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. Right. And then we came back today on Monday, and now he's the offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. So things didn't go well for him over the weekend, contract-wise, with the Raiders. And now he's going to be with Quinn in Washington. And now everybody's saying, because he was with Caleb Williams at USC this past year, that Washington is going to trade up one spot and get Caleb Williams to pair with Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator. That's what everybody says.
Is it true that kid said he wants to play in Washington and not in Chicago?
He's kind of originally from that area, the Maryland area, somewhere around there. So I think he's got some roots there. And he's got Kingsbury there. I mean, I'm sure if you asked him off the record where he wants to play, I think that he would probably pick there, if I had to guess right now. But we shall see. Belichick's kid got a job, too. He's going to be the defensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies, Scotty. Belichick going college to be with the Washington Huskies. So at least he's got himself a job.
Yeah, well, it's very exciting for him. Again, he can thank his daddy.
And last one I have for you. Did you see that the World Cup will finish at MetLife in New Jersey? They are going to finish in Jersey
I told you.
With the final, which I thought was going to happen too because of where it is for the Europeans, for everybody. It's just the most centralized location for the world to get to.
So, listen, I love Morency. I do the show with him every week in the NFL, and we're going to do the Super Bowl on the 11th at 6:30 on SportsGrid. So, I love Morency. But remember, he came on with us, and he said, it's Dallas, it's a done deal. I said, listen, the New York papers today are saying it's still Snoopy or Dallas. They have not made a decision. Done deal. It's Dallas. They already made the decision. They already made the announcement. I said, that is not true. That is not true. And sure enough, East Rutherford got the World Cup final, and it's because of New York. So just remember, everything's bigger in Texas, except New York City's bigger than Texas.
Because that place is a dump, and they still gave it to them because it's New York. They gave them that game because it's New York, not because the stadium's great.
That's right.
The stadium's awful compared to these other stadiums. SoFi's better, Jerry World's better, Atlanta's better. All these places are better, but because it's in New York, that's why they got the game. They gave Jerry's World an extra game. They have 9 games instead of 8. That was like the kickback.
So what?
They gave them an extra game.
Because it's like you said, it's a dump, but it is New York City always wins because it's the greatest city in the world. And, I mean, let's face facts. Mavi and I were in Dallas. Were you in Dallas with us? I mean, Arlington, that stadium is no more in Dallas than Fly a Kite. It's in Arlington.
Yeah, it's nowhere
It's
near
not
Dallas.
in Dallas. And so that's like saying that Santa Clara is in San Francisco. It's nowhere near San Francisco.
No.
It's like an hour away. Here's the deal. New York City is all that matters. They got New York. That's it. They got the juice of the Big Apple. That's what that's about. And that's going to be kick-ass. My buddy said to me the other day, he goes, I got quarterfinal tickets in Philly. I go, you're a loser. Who cares about the quarterfinals?
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back leagues throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with 1 touchdown pass.
I hate the Chiefs. but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And let me tell you something. Steve Spagnuolo's defense going to be ready to play. You make turnovers in this game or make stupid decisions as a head coach, you're going to pay for it because Kansas City isn't going to give it back.
Do you really think that Ayuk and Debo both are going to be no-shows in this ballgame? And oh, by the way, they have George Kittle, one of the above average, one of the best tight ends in all of the NFL.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I think Mahomes will go over that 12.5 easy. I think McCaffrey will have 20 or more attempts because they know they can't throw all day against that Kansas City defense. They got to run.
Teams that win have been healthier for the most part. So you have two relatively healthy teams, but the 49ers have the advantage.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event. The atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, for finish time, the Penguins signed Jesse Punjabi to a 2-year deal. He's been in the league a little bit, got a taste. Mbappe going to leave PSG to join Real Madrid this summer, allegedly. That's enormous. And we go from that to reminding you that we'll be on with Carver and Ferrelli at 8 to 10 East tonight on SiriusXM, Channel 159, and Sports Byline and their affiliates doing SportsGrid Radio from 8 to 10 tonight and every night this week from Las Vegas. Also, a naked woman in Florida barges into a gas station, threatens to kill everyone with an apple peeler. She also touched herself a few too many times in front of police and was thrown into the back of a wagon and taken down to the local jail cell. Nevada casinos won $1.43 billion from gamblers in December alone, the highest gaming win in Nevada history. Frontier passenger pulls down his pants to take a leak on the flight. Did not go over well. Also, while doing that, was threatening others. We always love the airline stories. A Target employee sentenced to 100 years in prison for slaughtering a coworker over a stolen lunch. Don't forget your brown bag lunch and get shanked and die, and then the guy gets a 100-year sentence. A drunken groom ruins honeymoon, gets kicked off a plane after vaping and telling the captain to Ferrall off. Another plane incident. Cruise passengers. We also love cruise stories. Cruise passengers allegedly This guy brought in 100 bags of weed onto a ship in Miami. He thought he'd smuggle 100 ounces of weed on a cruise ship. It did not go well. A New Jersey woman's home and car were vandalized with pepperoni. They put pepperoni slices all over her house and her car windows, and I think that is massively creative. PFT is next, and we will see you on the radio side at 8 to 10 Eastern from Las Vegas. Good night.